Welcome to the channel where fear comes to life and the darkest tales drag you into the unknown. Tonight, we're diving headfirst into a supposedly true paranormal experience that'll make you question everything you think you know about this world. Buckle up for a chilling account of a haunted house, shadows that move on their own, and a buried secret that was never meant to be unearthed. If you're into scary stories, creepypastas, or bone-chilling ghost stories, then this video is for you. So kill the lights, crank up the volume, and if you've got the guts, hit play. And don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any spine-tingling tales. Ready to get started? I never used to believe in ghosts. Not like they show in the movies, with rattling chains or specters floating around in white sheets. To me, the world was always black and white. You live, you die, that's it. But there's something about my grandma's house that makes me question everything I thought I knew. My name is Clara, and this is the story of how one night changed my life forever. It was the summer of '24. I was 27, fresh out of college, no job lined up, and crashing at my grandma's place in some backwater town. Her house was old, made of wood, smelled like mildew, and the furniture looked like it was straight out of the Brady Bunch era. Not exactly a cozy place, but I didn't have a choice. My grandma, Nana Inez, was a quiet woman, always gazing off into the distance, spending hours knitting on the porch. She never said much, but sometimes at night I'd hear her mumbling while she stared out into the dark yard. Stuff like, "They're still here." At first, I figured she was just talking to herself, maybe missing my grandpa, who'd passed away 10 years ago. But there was something in her tone, something that made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. One night, while I was doing dishes, I found an old photo tucked away in the back of a drawer. It was a faded black and white picture of a family I didn't recognize. A man, a woman, and a little girl posing in front of the same house I was staying in. On the back, written in black ink, was just a date, 1953, and one sentence: "They never left." That photo gave me the creeps. I asked my grandma about it the next day, but she just looked away and said, "Leave well enough alone, Clara." The way she said it, her voice trembling, made me swallow any other questions I had. But at night, alone in my room, I couldn't stop thinking about that sentence. Who never left? And why did the house feel so heavy? Like the air was thicker, like something was watching me even when I was alone. That same night, the first weird thing happened. I was lying in bed, trying to fall asleep, when I heard a sound. A light scratching, like fingernails scraping on wood, coming from inside the wall behind my bed. It wasn't a mouse. I know what mice sound like. It was deliberate, slow, like something was trying to get my attention. I got up, turned on the light, but the sound stopped. I stood there staring at the wall, my heart pounding so hard I could barely hear myself breathe. Then, out of nowhere, the light bulb flickered 3 times and went out. The next morning, I tried to convince myself it was all in my head. A burned-out bulb, a scratching in the wall. It was just an old house, right? But the heaviness in the air wouldn't go away. It was like the house was watching me, waiting for me to do something. My grandma was quieter than usual, avoiding my gaze while we had coffee. When I tried to ask about the photo again, she just shook her head and said, "Clara, some things are best left buried." But I couldn't. That sentence, "they never left," was burned into my brain. I decided to do some digging. That afternoon, while my grandma was taking her nap on the porch, I rummaged through the house. In the basement, I found dusty boxes filled with old papers, receipts, letters, even a diary with a cracked leather cover. The diary belonged to a woman named Margarita, who apparently lived in the house back in the 50s. The first few pages were mundane, notes about her daily life, her husband, her little girl named Anna. But as I read on, the entries got stranger. Margarita wrote about shadows that moved on their own and voices that came from the backyard at night. In one of the last pages, she wrote, "Anna says she sees a man in her room. He doesn't talk, he just watches. I don't know what to do."
My stomach dropped. I looked out the basement window at the backyard, where the sun was already low, casting long shadows. For a moment, I could swear I saw something move between the trees, an indistinct shape, like a blur of smoke. I blinked, and it was gone. But the cold shiver down my spine didn't fade. That night, the sounds came back. First, the scratching in the wall, more insistent, like something was trying to claw its way out. Then, I heard footsteps, slow, heavy footsteps, coming down the stairs from the second floor. My grandma was sleeping downstairs, and I was the only one upstairs. I froze in bed, clutching the blanket like it could protect me. The footsteps stopped outside my bedroom door. Silence. Then, a whisper, so low I could barely make it out. "Clara." I didn't sleep a wink that night. When morning came, I confronted my grandma. "Who is Anna? Who lived here before?" I asked, holding up the diary. She went pale, like I'd said something taboo. "Where did you find that?" she asked, her voice trembling. After a lot of prodding, she caved. She told me that the house belonged to a family back in the 50s, Margarita, her husband, and their daughter, Anna. They disappeared. No one knows how or why. The police never found any bodies, but they never found any clues either. The town said the house was cursed, that something about it trapped people. As she spoke, I noticed something out the window. In the backyard, the dirt near the trees looked disturbed, like someone had been digging there recently. My grandma followed my gaze and went rigid. "Don't go outside at night, Clara," she said. "Never go outside at night." I couldn't ignore it anymore. The house wasn't just old or creepy. There was something wrong with it, something alive, like the walls were breathing. After talking to my grandma, I spent the day obsessing over the backyard, that disturbed dirt. It was like it was calling to me. I waited until nightfall, when my grandma was already asleep, and grabbed a flashlight. I knew she'd warned me not to go outside at night, but curiosity, or maybe something else, was stronger. The air was cold, heavy with the damp smell of earth and wet grass. The flashlight beam trembled in my hand as I approached the trees. The disturbed dirt was deeper than I thought, like a poorly concealed hole. I knelt down and started digging with my hands, my heart pounding. With each handful of dirt, the cold feeling in my spine intensified. Then, my hand touched something hard, a wooden box, small, about the size of a shoebox. It was locked, but the latch was so rusted that it gave way with a push. Inside, there was a child's notebook, covered in crayon drawings. It was Anna's. The first few pages were innocent. Flowers, trees, a smiling sun. But as I flipped through them, the drawings got darker. A tall, faceless man with arms that were too long appeared in almost every picture. In one, he was standing next to a bed, watching a child drawn with shaky lines. In the corner, written in crooked letters, it read, "He won't let me sleep." Suddenly, the flashlight went out. The silence of the backyard was swallowed by a low hum, like a distant swarm of bees. I looked around, but the darkness was absolute. Then I heard it. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate footsteps coming from the trees. They weren't human. They were too heavy, dragging, like something was crawling across the ground. My breath caught in my throat. I tried to run, but my feet felt glued to the earth. A voice, no, a whisper, came from behind me. "You found it." I turned around, and there he was. Tall, gaunt, faceless. Just an emptiness where his face should have been. But I could feel him watching me. My whole body was shaking, and the air felt suffocating, like he was sucking all the oxygen into himself. The flashlight flickered back to life on its own, illuminating the backyard for a split second, and I saw not just him, but other shapes, smaller, indistinct, hovering around the trees. They were like shadows, but solid, with eyes that glowed like embers. I ran. I ran into the house, slamming the door behind me. My grandma was in the living room, awake, her eyes wide with fear. "I warned you, Clara," she said, her voice almost a sob. "You shouldn't have messed with it." Before I could answer, the windows started to rattle like something was pounding on them from outside. The scratching on the walls came back, but now it was on every wall, a chorus of fingernails scraping wood, and in the middle of the chaos, I heard my name again, whispered by that voice that wasn't human. "Clara." The banging on the window stopped as suddenly as it started. The silence that followed was worse, heavy, like the house was holding its breath. My grandma grabbed my hand, her fingers ice cold, and whispered, "Don't look at the windows, Clara. Never look." But I couldn't help it. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw shadows moving outside, shapes that weren't human, sliding like smoke against the glass. Anna's notebook was still in my hand, the pages crumpled from how tightly I was clutching it. "Why are they here?" I asked, my voice trembling. My grandma took a deep breath, like she was carrying a weight she didn't want to share. "They never left," she said. "Margarita, her husband, Anna. Something trapped them. Something in this house. I tried to protect you, but you stirred up something you shouldn't have." She told me then what she never wanted to admit. After the family disappeared, the house was abandoned for years. When she and my grandpa bought it in the 70s, strange things started happening. Sounds, shadows, nightmares. "Your grandpa died here," she said. "Not of a heart attack like I always told you, but of fear. On a night when he swore he saw the faceless man in the bedroom." I wanted to run, but where to? The door felt so far away, and the backyard was theirs now. I grabbed the notebook and threw it into the fireplace, lighting the fire with trembling hands. Maybe if I destroyed what connected them to me, they would leave. The flames engulfed the pages, and for a moment I thought it had worked. But then the fire crackled, and a low guttural laugh echoed through the house. It came from nowhere and everywhere at the same time. My grandma fell to her knees, mumbling prayers I didn't understand. The lights flickered, and the air turned cold, so cold that my breath came out in clouds. Then I heard the voice again, clearer now. You can't burn what's already dead. The shadows on the windows drew closer, and I could swear I saw the outline of a child. Anna, maybe, with eyes that weren't eyes, just black holes. I don't know how we survived that night. When the sun came up, everything stopped. The shadows vanished. The air went back to normal. My grandma didn't say another word, just stared into space. I packed my bags and left the house that same day. I never went back, but I carry something with me. Sometimes at night I hear the scratching, not on the walls, but in my mind. And in some nightmares I see the faceless man standing in the corner of my room, just watching. They say the house is still there, abandoned again. No one wants to buy it. But if you ever pass through that little town and hear stories about a house where the air is heavy and the shadows move on their own, don't go inside. And if you find a child's notebook in the backyard, for the love of Pete, don't open it. So, what did you think of that story? Would you have the guts to go inside that house or open that notebook? Tell us in the comments. We want to know if you've ever experienced anything paranormal or know a creepy local legend from your town. If this video gave you chills, leave a like, because that helps spread the fear to more people. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next scary stories, creepypastas, and supernatural experiences that'll keep you up at night. And if you want to dive even deeper into the unknown, check out the suggested video on the screen right now. Until next time. And watch out for what you find in the